Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video we're going to be talking all about intermittent fasting, but let's just let it be easy, right? So my name is Kathleen Hart. I'm a mindset and weight loss coach, and this is how I help my clients every single day. I make their journey towards their goal weight, towards their health goals, let it be easy. So if anybody wants to work with me, the links are always down in the description box. But in this video, we're gonna let intermittent fasting be easy, okay? Just trust me on this, keep watching. So this is the time of the year where everyone's kind of evaluating their health goals, evaluating what they're doing every day, and trying to figure out how can I better myself. And fasting, intermittent fasting is such a buzzword right now. It's so popular, rightfully so, because it can really help us reach our weight loss goals. But there's a lot of conflicting information out there. Believe me, I know this. So this video, I'm hoping is just gonna let it be super easy for you guys, super easy. So the first thing I'm gonna tell you to get the weight off your shoulders is that there are no rules. There are no rules when it comes to fasting. You know why there's no rules? Because everyone is completely different. Just because I like to fast for 16 hours and the next person likes to fast for 20 hours doesn't mean that you can't fast for 14 hours and live your life and be completely happy. So everyone is gonna be different. You've gotta figure out what works best for you, your body, and your schedule. So this is a great time to go over these numbers that I'm throwing out. So a lot of times a common fasting amount you'll hear and you'll see is 16-8 fast. Basically what that means is there's 8 hours in the day where you are actively eating, and there's 16 hours in the 24-hour day where you are fasting. So this is very common because this is a great starting point and goal to work towards for a great fasting schedule. This is what I follow, roughly, but we'll talk about that in a second. And I feel like it works perfectly for me. If I have an 8-hour window where I can eat all my food, get in all my nutrients, get in all my macros, get everything perfect, and then 16 hours I'm fasting, half of that, most of the time I'm sleeping. So that works great for me, and you just gotta figure out what works best for you. So for me, my fasting schedule right now is 8-hour eating window. So I eat roughly from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. But a lot of times I'm not even eating that late. So that's why I said I'm very easygoing about this, and we'll talk about the mindset portion later in the video. So that is my 16-hour window, roughly 8 p.m. until 12 p.m. the next day. So that's my 16 hours, and then again, I eat during the rest of the 8. So that works for me. You've got to figure out based on your lifestyle what works for you. I know a lot of people who will skip the dinner and they will eat breakfast and lunch and then fast the rest of the day. So really, it just depends on what feels good to you. How did I start fasting? Because this is really important to what brings you to this video to learn about intermittent fasting for beginners just starting out. Does it feel like you maybe like to end your day eating wise a little bit early, and maybe if you eat dinner you're not really hungry for it and you kind of feel blah after eating it? That's what happened to me in the mornings. I was waking up every morning thinking I had to have breakfast. Meanwhile, I'm just not a breakfast person and I'm not hungry in the morning. So for me, I was naturally fasting anyway, not even on purpose, for a very long time before I even knew what fasting was, all through high school, because it just felt good for me and my body to not eat until lunchtime. So until I intentionally started doing it a few years ago, that's when it really started to be like, oh, light bulb moment. I like fasting, my body likes fasting. So that's how I started, on accident, just not eating breakfast and skipping breakfast. But really, what are your motives for wanting to start fasting? And if it's to improve your health, go for it. Do those things, because anytime we're pulled in the direction to improve our health and do something to better our routine or better our lifestyle, when it comes intuitively, I always say go for it. If it feels good, go for it. So to begin fasting right now, I would figure out what time of the morning or afternoon do you usually start eating. So if you're someone who wants to start fasting but your breakfast every day is at 8 a.m. and you want to start fasting, start tomorrow and push that 8 a.m. breakfast to 9 a.m. Just push it a little bit, and you might not make it till 9 a.m. You might be so hungry, because listen, that's what happens with our bodies. Our bodies get used to eating at certain times of the day. But the good news about that is it's just a hormone that gets secreted that tells us when we're hungry. It's called ghrelin, and we can actually change that time. We can actually change that in our bodies. But if you do it slowly, trust me, I've tried to do it all at once and it just made me sick. So instead, do it slowly over time. Over a week's time, you'll get up to your fasting, pace that you want to be at, and you'll be fine. So what I did is I just pushed it back a little bit each day until I reached my 12 p.m. eating window time. So I would encourage you to do that too, because if you try to do it too quickly, again, you're going to be hungry, you're going to be fatigued, you're going to feel blah, you're going to be starving probably actually. So just push it back slowly, trust me on this, and push it back a little bit each day until you reach your goal fasting time. So then another thing that I don't think is talked about enough is that if you are going to be fasting, you have to make sure that during your eating window, you're getting all your nutrients. So make sure that your food is balanced, your macros are balanced for your eating window. Make sure you're eating enough, basically, because if you aren't eating enough and you're not getting the proper nutrients, the fasting isn't going to counteract that. You can't out fast a poor diet. So just make sure that what you are eating in your eating window is nutritious and it's macro friendly for whatever plan you're following. So I follow a low carb lifestyle. So I like to make sure I'm eating roughly between 25 and 35 net carbs per day in my eating window, and around, and this is a ballpark because I really don't count my calories too often, but when I do, I like to be between 1,400 and 1,700 calories. So as long as I'm in that range, again, some days it's gonna be more, some days it'll be around the lower mark. That's okay, but my carbs are really what's important to me. And then recently, at the end of last year, I started counting my protein, and I like to get between 100 grams, that's my minimum, and like 120 grams of protein every day. I'm also maintaining a 65-pound weight loss, which I've been maintaining for years now, but the key to that is just making sure that I get all of the nutrients in that eating window. It's so important. So then what's gonna keep you full at the end of the night when we have our fear zone, is what I like to call it. And when I started fasting, I had this same thing happen to me too. I would get really nervous like an hour before my eating window would end. So at like 7 p.m. and I knew I had to stop eating by 8 p.m. even though there are no rules, but I had to stop eating at 8 p.m. and I would get nervous at 7 and be like, oh my God, well, what if I'm hungry at like 10 o'clock tonight? Like, what am I gonna do? I better eat something at 7, even though I'm not hungry, because what if I'm hungry? So that was like this fear zone that I was in for a little bit. And then I finally said to myself, like, clearly I'm overeating now. I don't need this food at the end of the night. I'm just doing it because I think I may be hungry later. So what did I do? Well, I actually did the trial and error. I said to myself, okay, I'm nervous that I'm gonna be hungry later, but I don't care. I'm not eating anything else. Let me just do a test. Sure enough, 10 o'clock rolled around and I was still full. I went to bed and I woke up and everything was fine. So a lot of the fear was in my head. 1,000% of the fear was in my head mostly. But then I actually made sure that my dinner, whatever that last meal of my day was gonna be full of good fats, healthy fats, and protein, because both of those combined together, they're going to keep you fuller for longer. So that is the key. So on my low carb lifestyle, I'm not eating the carbs as high as most people on the traditional diet. So instead, I'm making sure that my fats are decent and my protein is high. And you guys, that was the game changer. That was it. So I just had to make sure that I was hitting those marks every day and making sure that I had the healthy fat at night, and then the protein was in line with my daily amount. And then I was good. I wasn't hungry. I wasn't craving salty things. I wasn't really craving sweet things. At night, I wasn't getting hungry outside of my window. So it worked out perfectly. So remember, there are no rules. The most important thing you can do moving forward if you want to start fasting today is see how you're fasting right now. Like, what are your eating windows? What are they? And then see how you can minimize them on both ends. So if you're eating now for 12 hours, see how you can skimp an hour off the end and an hour off the beginning, and then make that a 10-hour eating window. And then whatever your goal is, if you wanna get to an 8-hour window, slowly close it in, close the gap for what your eating window is gonna be. And then based on how you feel, see what time of the day feels best to eat for you. So that is definitely where I would start. And then like I said, guys, there are no rules. Don't follow anybody on the internet. Don't even follow me for my eating window. Figure out what works best for you. Use all of the people that you're watching and seeing information as a baseline to say, okay, if these people can do it, I can do it too. Let me go intuitive and figure out what works best for me and my body and my schedule. So I hope this video helped you guys. Make sure to follow me on Instagram for more daily tips, foods that I'm eating, and just come over and say hi. If you are looking for more support on your weight loss journey through mindset and weight loss, my links are all down in the description box for coaching. I would love to have you. Chat me up anywhere you can find me and we can talk about it. But until the next video, I hope you guys have an awesome day, an awesome week, and I'll see you really soon. Bye, everybody.